Okay, now what we need to do is look at these numbers that are possible. So those are the white numbers, and try to match them to some of the clues. So one clue that's important is what Ms. Wiebel says about the third highest GPA. And that was that they didn't get either the worst or best grades. So that's this column here. So if they didn't get worst or best grades, they didn't have an A or an F, which means they don't have a 4 or a 0 in their possible grade. So then everything with a 4 can't belong to this column. And everything with a 0 can't belong to this column. And we know the orange ones don't work anyway. So the first number we see that could possibly work is 321. So we're going to put that here. 320 won't work because that has an F. 311 will work. And the next one is 221. And then 211. And that's it. Those are the only possible things that could work for that middle column. So 321, remember, is a BCD. 311 would be a BDD. 221 would be CCD. And 211 would be CDD. So no A's and no F's. And then we add those up together, and we can see that the first one, I'm going to just do that math over here, is 3 plus 2 plus 1, so that's 6. The next one is 3 plus 1 plus 1, that's 5. 2 plus 2 plus 1, that's still 5. And 2 plus 1 plus 1, which is 4. Ms. Wiebels had said that the scores were 5 consecutive numbers. So if the middle is 6, that means the second best is 7 and the best is 8. And then the fourth best is 5 and the last is 4. If the middle is 5, then the second best is 6 and the best is 7. And on this side we get 4 and 3. And if the middle is 4, then second best is 5 and best is 6. And on this side we get 3 and 2. So those are the 5 consecutive numbers that are possible given these scores as the only possible scores for that middle column. But Ms. Wiebels has said that the total GPA wasn't 7. So that means that this row can't be possible. So we're going to put that in orange to remind us that won't work. So what that tells us then is that the highest GPA has to be an 8 or a 6. Okay, so now let's look at this column. And we know this column can only be C's and D's, so only 2's and 1's. So again, no 4's can be in there. No 3's can be in there. So the first number we see that's possible is 221. And then we keep looking, no F's are allowed. 211 might work. Whoops. 211. And that's it. Okay, so 221 and 211 might work. 221 is 5, and 211 is 4, but we know 4 doesn't work because this whole column, this whole row doesn't work. So since 7 can't be the highest, then 4 can't be the fourth best. So that one won't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that in orange to remind us it doesn't work. So then that means that the fourth column has to be 5, so the highest column has to be 8. So what we know then is these numbers have to start at 8 and go 7, 6, 5, 4, 4. Okay, so then because this middle one has to be 6 and this is the only one that's 6, then these 3 don't work. So we're going to put those in orange. So we need to have, in this column, we need to have things that add up to 8. So we go back to our list and we see, okay, 4 plus 3 plus 1 adds up to 8. And then we quickly notice that that's the only thing. So this has to be 4, 3, 1, an A, a B, and a D. That's our best score. In this column then, we're going to have to be a 7. So we go back here and that could be 430. And it can be 4, 2, 1. That adds up to 7. 4 plus 2 plus 1. And that's it. So here we can only have 4, 3, 0 or 4, 2, 1. And then over here, we have several things that could add up to 4. And let's just go through, before we do that, we know that, we're going to put in yellow the things we know for sure. So in yellow then, we're going to have, we know this one is for sure, because it's the only one that could be. This one is for sure, so that's the only one that can be. And this one is for sure, so that's the only one that can be. So let's look at those. We know each student has 3 grades. And then because all the students can only, there's only one student can get each grade, so there can only be 1A in math, 1A in science, 1A in English, and 1B in math, 1B in science, 1B in English, and so on. So that means there's only 3 Bs that can happen, 1 in math, 1 in science, 1 in English. And there's only 3 Cs that can happen. So let's look at C. Remember, C is the number 2. So here we've used up one of the C's, so could we see 1, 2? And here we've used up 2 of the C's, because there are 2 2's. That means there can't be any more 2's floating around. Okay, if that's true, then this one can't be possible, because we've already used 3 of the 2's, and there's only 3 2's available. So then we can go to this guy and say that he's not possible. And so then we know this is the one that is going to be the right one in this column. And then as soon as we do that, we see, oh, here's 3 3's. So there aren't any 3's possible anymore. So we only have 4's and 0's and 1's possible. So nothing with a 3 and nothing with a 2. And and it has to add up to equal 4. So we've already figured out that it has to be this row here is the one we're working with for our total column amounts. Okay, so going through and saying that it has to add up to 4. Well, this is our first number that adds up to 4. So we're going to put 400 here. Keeping on going, and we see this adds up to 4, but we've already used our 3 3's, so we can't use that. Then what else? This one adds to 4, but we've already used our 2 2's, or our 3 2's, so we can't have any more 2's. This adds up to 4. Again, we've already used our 2's up, and that's it. So then this is the only thing possible for this last column. And now what we're going to do, now that we know what our possible grades can be for each column, so again, let's go through that here. We have an A, B, and a D, an A, B, and an F, a B, C, and a D, C, C, and a D, and an A and 2 F's. And we can also see, okay, it makes sense. In the yellow here, we've used the 3 4's that we know we have. We have 3 possible A's. We can see there's 3 possible B's. We can see there's 3 possible C's. We can see there's 3 possible D's and 3 possible F's. So we know we're on the right track.